So one easy way to determine if, for the victims advocates and Hochul's investigation, state police or whoever wants to approach this, this city municipal prosecutor, Emmett Wood, who was lied to, maybe he was, maybe he knows, this is how you find out. We want to no trespass her because there's a structure out there. Make sure when you approach him, that you show him pictures of the two structures by the school. And when he says, oh, well, that's a preschool, she's not running a school, that's when you show him copies of my affidavit that I had to sit down and write out for Mike Goslin when Economic Services Division sent me to the police. And you remind him of this, where I tried to call the police to report this, and they refused to take a report. And here's the thing. If in fact people lied to this municipal prosecutor, Emmett Wood, and he acted on bad evidence and lies, that's the end of his career. So he had better be demanding to lock a lot of people up. Same goes for that judge. When she issued a restraining order against me as a federal investigator and state of Vermont material witness, or whatever you want to call me, agent, because Economic Services sent me to the police to report those state and federal crimes against the state by state officials and state contractors like Paul Dragon and all of those organizations that are contracted with City of Burlington, the county, the state, whatever, and the federal government, because that put that judge Sufritz has a license she's licensed in the state of Vermont. Now I know in the state of Vermont, the way you can become a lawyer, I guess you can do an apprenticeship. You don't have to go through law school, but I would imagine you still have to pass a bar exam, and you still are held to standards. You don't get to make decisions based on bad evidence. So if Sufritz and this municipal prosecutor don't immediately start demanding who lied to them, how they were lied to, and want to know every individual involved, from the chief of police to Weinberger to Paul Dragon to everybody on staff at Howard Center, Safe Harbor, whatever, Becky, Autumn, whatever, then you know they're guilty. Because what they're basically trying to do is say, I'm a bad investigator, I'm malicious, to cover Chad Cronin's butt on his bad actions as a prosecutor and defense attorney and bias crimes advisor for Orlando PD and former independent investigator for DOJ. That's why I'm getting so loud about this. You ain't going to put your criminal violations off on me. You're not going to risk with me, it's more than just a licensure. I'm not licensed, but it's still my life. I'm still a sworn assassin. You're not going to accuse me of abusing my skills as an assassin. An assassin doesn't mean you're a hired hitman who goes out and kills people for money. Under Kennedy's Special Forces, assassins were there to deal with terrorist insurgents, foreign or domestic, namely the Klan. And then eventually his special forces found out he was just as involved. Him and Bobby and all the Kennedys were just as involved. But it doesn't matter. They started out on this very noble oath, and it gave those men pride, only to turn around and find out that these snot-nosed little brats set them up to kill Marilyn Monroe and get caught and all kinds of other shit. Kept the war going because McNamara owned stock and profited from it.